Hello, it is 12 noon in Rome. It's 2:30 p.m. in Tehran. I'm Monita, Rajpal. You're watching CNN, the world's news leader. This is World One, live from London. In a few hours, Italy's borrowing costs have climbed into what economists see as the red zone, the level at which it can be impossible for a government to keep up its debt repayments. Yields on Italian bonds rose above the critical 7% mark, raising concerns that Italy is on the path to default or bailout. Well, less than 24 hours ago, it was the economy that finally forced Silvio Berlusconi, after years of scandals, to say he would resign. So who is likely to replace Berlusconi, and can anyone salvage Italy's economy? CNN's Becky Anderson is in Rome. She joins us now. And Becky, let's start first of all with this 7% mark, which is of course spooking a lot of investors right now. It seems as though the C word is evading investors right now, and that would be confidence, and that would even relate to parliamentarians.
And I think the problem is the other C word, which is clarity. They just haven't got any clarity here. It was my concern last night that we had got sort of the worst of all worlds for the market.
Becky,
really.
Thank you very much for this, and do join us throughout the day here on CNN. Becky Anderson will be joining us live from Rome, and of course on Connect the World tonight here European time. Well, let's see what other newspapers around the world have to say about this. The Wall Street Journal's Europe edition has the headline, "In the end, it was the economy." Now, the opinion piece says for years, Mr. Berlusconi clung to power while fending off sex scandals and corruption trials. By the time Italy began to creep into the crosshairs of the Eurozone crisis, Mr. Berlusconi and his forces were caught perilously flat-footed. Here in the UK, The Guardian has this headline, "Berlusconi at bay." The common piece goes on to say there can be no clear indication that Italy, it is the man who is the immediate problem and not the country, whereas in Greece, it has been the other way around. And finally, in the United Arab Emirates, the National's headline is "Coalition Turns on Italian Premier." It says, on the streets of Rome and the provinces, and in the view of many political and financial analysts, the end of the Berlusconi era is not only near, but offers the country its best hope of finding solutions to its present predicament. Students in London are preparing to march through the city centre in just under an hour from now. 10,000 protesters are expected to descend on London, opposing cuts to the education budget and higher tuition fees. The route takes the marchers to St Paul's Cathedral to join up with the demonstrators at the 4-week-old Occupy London protest camp. Well, CNN's Atika Shubert is on the protest route, and she joins us now. And Atika, how are the crowds looking? How big is it?
Well, we don't know yet. It's really just gotten started. It's not really reached here yet. Now, the plan is for that student protest. They think that they're going to come here, join up with Occupy here as a sort of form of solidarity. Police say, however, that they won't be coming directly here, that the protest route will basically go just north of here. And so that's where there's some tension. And police say they are concerned about the possibility of disorder, of vandalism. Remember, it was only almost exactly a year ago, in fact, when we had that massive...
Thank you very much for that. Atika Shubert there in central London. You are watching World One live from London. To World One. Iran is slamming a UN report which says there's credible evidence to suggest it may be developing nuclear weapons. The UN's nuclear watchdog, the IAEA, says, quote, "Information indicates Iran has carried out activities relevant to the development of a nuclear explosive device, and it's acquired weapons intelligence from a clandestine nuclear supply network." Well, Iran denies it's trying to make atomic warheads and insists its nuclear program is for peaceful purposes such as electricity generation. Well, CNN's Reza Saya is following developments for us from Pakistan. He joins us now live from our bureau in Islamabad. And Reza, now, have we heard anything in response? And now what we are hearing, actually, France is saying that they want to convene a UN Security Council meeting. In fact, they're even going as far as saying that if indeed all of this adds up, this report adds up, they're prepared to take what they're describing as sanctions of unprecedented scale.
Yeah, and I think that's not a surprise. I think a lot of people believe that this report sets the stage for more economic sanctions, whether they're unilateral.
Reza, thank you. Reza Saya there in Islamabad. Syria's crackdown on dissent rages on a full week after it told the Arab League it would end the violence. The UN says the number of people killed in the past 8 months has now topped 3,500. Thousands of people have fled across the border with Lebanon, but as Arwa Damon reports, there's no escape from the suffering, especially for the children.
The game of choice for these Syrian refugee children, a morbid twist on cops and robbers.
More now on the situation in Thailand. Let's go to our meteorologist, Mario Ramos, who joins us from the World Weather Center with details on how things are looking there weather-wise. Mari?
Weather-wise, I don't think we have a problem, which is the amazing part, because it's not raining anymore, Monita. It hasn't been raining for a while, but it's the rain that fell before that's the problem. And
he is no stranger to controversy. The billionaire media mogul has seen sex scandals and corruption trials come and go. But now that he's finally met his match, what do the Italian people think of him? For that, let's go to Newsweek's Rome Bureau Chief Barbie Nato, who joins us now from CNN Rome. Barbie, thank you very much for being with us. I'm curious to know, as we start off, what's the feel like there in Rome today, this morning, as Italians are now halfway into their day of knowing that Silvio Berlusconi, the man who defined somewhat their country's political system, has said he's not going to continue running?
Well, I think there's a lot of very cautious disbelief, because Italians won't believe that Silvio Berlusconi is leaving until they actually see him go.
What I'm curious to know, Barbie, is that, even if he steps down and does leave, he still wields quite a lot of power in Italy. He's a media mogul. He owns a large percentage of television newspapers there in that country, as well as a major sports team. So he does wield quite a significant percentage of power and influence in the country. So even if he does step away from politics and from an official role, he could still be wielding things from the background, could he not?
Oh, absolutely. He has ingrained himself into the Italian psyche over these many years that he's had control of Italy's private media, and much of, as Prime Minister over the course of 17 years, in direct control of the public media. And
Barbie Nato there joining us from Rome. Italy is not the only country having leadership troubles. Greek Prime Minister George Papandreou is expected to meet the president this morning and unveil the makeup of a new government. Well, Mr. Papandreou said he would resign on Sunday, but we still don't know who will take his place. Signing a deal committing to the EU bailout is at the center of negotiations between the country's political parties. Following the story, so that we still have no idea who will take over from George Papandreou. So things are as uncertain there as it is in Italy.
Absolutely, just as uncertain. And of course, this is what Europe wants. They want to see certainty. They want to see a new government which has cross-party political support.
Diana, thank you very much for that. Diana Magne there for us in Athens. You are watching World One live from London. NBA fans are hoping that at least some of the U.S. basketball season can be saved, but the latest developments don't give them many grounds for hope. Don Riddell's here with that. Not good news.
Doesn't look like it, Monita. Thanks very much. The NBA season remains in serious jeopody following the latest setback in negotiations.
Good to hear what he had to say about him. That's great stuff. Thank you very much for that, Tom. Now, it's baseball that's often called America's pastime, but it's football, American football that is the national obsession in the United States. And that's especially true of university teams, which attract legions of fans. But now, the legion rooting for Pennsylvania State University's team has been shaken to the core. One of the team's former assistant coaches is facing sexual molestation charges, and the head coach, a living legend in the United States, may end up taking a fall. Jason Carroll joins us now live from Penn State University with more on that. And Jason, I read an article that was actually comparing this scandal. They were actually saying that it's like having a scandal in the White House.
Well, I don't know if it's like having a scandal in the White House, but I will say it is incredibly impactful for college football.
This is World One live from London. We are approaching almost 7 a.m. in New York, almost 1 p.m. in Berlin, and it is almost 8 p.m. in Tokyo. It is the discovery of a lifetime, a painting recently proven to have been crafted by none other than Leonardo da Vinci. The masterpiece is being publicly unveiled at London's National Gallery. It's part of a new exhibit, the largest ever of its kind, collating the artist's work. Nick Glass has a rare look at the centerpiece of the show, A Long Lost Da Vinci. CNN brings you rare access to the life and work of the ultimate Renaissance man in our special Leonardo, the Lost Painting. It airs several times this weekend.